Okay, this is just a short video explaining how to do a cap replacement on a GBA motherboard. As far as I know, there is like 3 revisions of the GBA motherboard and they all have the same caps. And I've actually had to delay shipment of these because of the cap kits. I had somebody make cap kits for me. It ended up not fitting correctly, like the physical size of the biggest cap, the 470 microfarad, just would not replace the original easily. It would take some time, so I've reverted back to using the old method of a through-hole cap in place of the surface mount cap, and it works perfectly fine, as you'll see. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, let's just start with removal. I like to use my flush cutters, and actually these are a little bit worn. They're still going to work fine. I try to go along the way of the legs. Like, I don't want to go this way. I like going this way. That way I'm squeezing against the legs instead of trying to bring them together before they cut. If you can't, you can't. Go in any way you can. More likely you're going to get them off just fine. And I was getting to a point, they say there's some juice right there, where I wouldn't cut all the way through the can. I would just cut to the very edge, and I'd be able to bring the whole thing, the bottom part of the can, off with it. And then that little plastic base part will just break apart or come right off of the legs. And you can come in with your soldering iron. I'm still using my blade. Heat it up and then just wipe them off. And make sure you get the leg flicked back off of the blade. Just make sure you're not taking any of the other components with it. This is a good place to do some more cleaning. Get your IPA, rubbing alcohol, whatever. Wet them down. Let them sit for a little bit. Take a toothbrush. Clean them. If you want to go further, you can go ahead and do another wash with degreaser, soap, water, etc. Now, the reason this got held up was because the cap kits that I was going to use, the one that went here, was actually larger than the original one, and I knew that wasn't going to work at all. Here we go. You can see it's actually a larger diameter and everything, but it's the footprint that I was most worried about. And you could probably make it work if you're really good. I don't know, it's right on the edge of both pads, and it kind of sits on, it's a C56. So I wasn't happy with that, because I knew, like, any kind of first timers or people with low experience would have a lot of problems with that. So we're going back to the older method of using a through-hole radial leaded cap. And you can see, not sure if you can make it out on video or not, but it is marked positive, right? There's a plus sign right here, right there for this. So this will be the negative lead, which has a marking right here. And basically it's just going to end up getting laid over right here, right? So we can cut the legs short and use some needle nose Just bend them out, and then you solder those down. You can just lay it over. So you got flux, put some flux on it. You can pre-tin the pads with some more solder. Sometimes that's really helpful. And you can also pre-tin the legs on your cap. And just make sure you're getting negative to negative. And once one of them's on there and cooled down, you should be able to move the cap around without it coming off, but then you can kind of force the other leg down onto that pad, give it some heat, and put it in place. And then basically just push your cap down in place. It's really simple. Now I wanted to further simplify this by using 100 microfarad MLCC or ceramic capacitors on these last three caps, but I haven't had anybody that's been able to tell me whether that's okay or not. The Steve on PC Engine FX forums said it was okay to do on the duos, but some power regulators and whatnot need the ESR, which is equivalent series resistance, to properly regulate power. So for now we're not doing that. I have simplified it a little bit. We are still using surface mount electrodes, but I found some that are smaller than the original caps, so they should be a lot easier to place. And same deal, flux up your pads. Add some solder. You could even flux the legs on the cap. Already had flux. Let's see. Flat side is negative side. You got a little bit of a indicator right there with the black half moon on the can. You want to just keep adding solder, or keep adding flux. A little bit sideways on that one. Perfect. Now if you've got an eye loop or a 10 by magnifying or more, go in and make sure the legs of those new caps properly wetted, which basically means they're going to look like this, where the old leg of the cap looks like it's got fresh solder all the way around on top of it, etc. That means it was properly wetted. That's it. Fairly easy to do. So you may be wondering, is there room for that large cap sitting over in this area? Well, yes, there definitely is. So this is where the motherboard sits. If you look, there's a huge cavity right there. Even though I thought I went a little bit too far that way, I could have gone. Actually, I'm right on the edge of being against this metal piece. And it doesn't matter if that touches anything, that top of that can. It's also ground. So yeah. Obviously these are smaller than original, so there's no harm there. I want to say, as far as the front piece, there's nothing poking through. Like if you wanted to go down and cover this hole right here, see that one, that's just a, okay, that's your one of your screw holes for attaching the motherboard to the front piece. So you could probably go just to the side of it like that, and you still very much be okay. See? Lots of room down in there to go either way with it. It's just that easy.